Right, so we'll chat to, in fact, two stories, both coming out from the same or the similar areas from the Bosmont region in the west of Johannesburg. We'll chat to Faisal Saleh, the chairperson of the Bosmont Mosque, coming up in a moment or so. But before that, the feature we call Champion South Africa. We want to know with how do you champion South Africa? So Debbie Cockrell is the chairperson and operations manager at the Slovo Center of Excellence around the toy library that she runs, and also the founding member of the Bosmont Community Green Project, which is BCGB. Debbie, you are talking to me thanks to a recommendation from Rihanna Musaji, because I asked her, like, who do you know who champions South Africa? Rihanna's like, very cool. Ashraf, speak to Debbie Cockrell. So blame her, right? But thanks for your time and appreciate it. So tell me more about what is it that you do?
All right. Good morning, Ashraf, and morning to your listeners. It's an absolute honor and pleasure to be here today. So I'm very much I would call myself a community activist. I am a champion, certainly, of education. This is probably the most important role that I play in what I do on a day-to-day basis. My mom founded an NPO called Slovo Center of Excellence, and we work with children through a toy library, really giving children access to play materials. This is much lacking in our community. And then the second organization that I'm involved with is BCGP, Bosmont Community Green Project. And this is an incredible organization started last year around June, July. And this was really a call to action around the challenges we're facing within our environment, around environmental issues. I'm looking at the rain we've had over the past 3 days, and I'm seeing the massive impact that climate change is having on us and will continue to have on us in the coming years. And so this is really pivotal for us as BCGP to start activating our communities, our residents, our children, our schools around the importance of keeping it green and keeping it clean.
Absolutely. Well, how then do you do that? So how do you do that in a community that's got so many other priorities, and you suddenly say, but you need to keep your community green. You need to look after the environment. What do you tell them and what do you do?
Yeah, so one of the first things we did last year was we implemented a monthly cleanup. So we've been doing those for about 8 months. So every second Saturday of the month, we find a spot in the community, we clean that area, and then we green that area. So what do we mean by that? It means that we have huge amounts of illegal dumping happening in our community. That is by residents themselves, unfortunately. But I think it's largely due to a lack of knowledge around our bylaws and the fact that dumping your black bags on the corner is actually legal. So for us, it's a massive education opportunity. And through the cleaning and greening projects is how we are trying to get our residents just a little bit more aware of their day-to-day habits. We've also hosted several workshops last year where we spoke around composting. We started a pilot project with one of our primary schools in the area called Bosmont Primary School. So we've started a food garden project at that venue. And this is really going to be pivotal for us in educating our kids, but also our community around waste management, which is another area that is directly linked to our environmental issues.
And do you see the difference as a result of your activism and the level of education now around environmental consciousness through schools?
So what I can say, Ashraf, we aren't seeing a big difference at the moment, to be very honest. What we are seeing is people standing back and first observing to see, are we active? Are we consistent? Are we keeping to our word of what we've set out to do? Last year, we did a survey in our community with about 700 residents responding. And through that information, we really got a sense that people are very proud to be residents of Bosmont. And we love that. We really appreciate our heritage, our mixed culture. We've been able to, surpass many challenges in terms of our history. And here we are as a community of members, residents coming together with different skills, different passions, different interests, and seeing how can we make a difference to empower ourselves and be proactive, as someone was saying earlier on your show today. I love that word, proactive.
Well, absolutely. And I mean, you know that, I mean, the project that I head up is called Champion South Africa, and that's why we're talking to you. And what I'm particularly looking at is how do people link their personal success to national success? So make the connection. So one thing is beautifying and cleaning up Bosmont, but at the same time, do you deliver in people not so much a sense of patriotism, but a sense of purpose to say, if you do this in Bosmont, in fact, effectively, you're helping the entire country. Do you do that?
Absolutely. It's without a doubt. I have a background in hospitality, and about 8 years ago, I joined my mom in the nonprofit sector within the educational space. And I thought I was going to do it for 6 months as a sabbatical and try and change my career. And what has happened since then is I've exactly found purpose. I found a reason and a space where I can, take my skill set within the hospitality environment and place it within being a champion in my community on multiple levels. For me, it certainly comes back down to education. If we don't harness this most important thing to help ourselves, empower ourselves, that is so critical for us. And so when you are passionate about multiple things, as I am, it's very easy to be a champion. You just be you and do what you do, but along the way you meet amazing people, you have impact with children or adults or the elderly, and you find yourself growing and developing on a personal level, which I think is so incredible. And I really encourage your listeners, anyone out there who may not be involved in any form of volunteerism, to really start there. That is the starting point of where you're going to start finding what is it that I want to do in terms of give back. And
Well, there you
every
are.
single person has sufficient talents and skills, whether it's reading with a child for an hour or spending some time outdoors with them or working in the community around cleaning and greening. There's multiple opportunities for us to get involved and just use our time a bit more efficiently.
Well, a country like Rwanda, for example, has a once a month compulsory. So I don't know if I can call it volunteerism, but a compulsory commitment to community, which may be something we need to be considering. By the way, just
Absolutely.
as we wrap up, thanks for talking to us, Debbie. But before we wrap up, you're talking about reaching out to community, and you've done it with schools. My next guest, by the way, is also from your community, by coincidence, really, Faisal Saleh, who's the chairperson of the Bosmont Mosque. So perhaps a way for you to communicate with him to get the mosque to drive the issues around green projects, because it's very
We
on
we
side, really, in
we
terms of
we
what they do.
we are certainly in touch with our mosque. We've got a wonderful project where we've planted 3 palm trees last year on the sort of neighboring doorstep. So we're very much in touch with them, and we've done a couple of things together around keeping that particular area with the 3 palms nice and clean and green.
Well, next when I visit that mosque, I'm going to certainly keep an eye and see whether you've done just that and what
We,
it looks
we
like.
look forward to
Uh,
welcoming you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Feel free, by the way, to tag us on some of the other communication around what you do. And you can just tag me, Salam Media, and Champion South Africa. We'll certainly share that as well. Debbie Cockrell, thanks for your time. So there you are. Two things she's
So much.
involved in: the Green Project in the Bosmont community, as well as running the toy library for educational support as part of the Slovo Center of Excellence. Well, that's what we're talking about daily. Do you champion South Africa? How? You tell me. And do you know somebody else? I want to talk to them. 061 766 0355. Bottom line, if you don't champion South Africa, for goodness sake, who's going to do just that? Let's get to now the Bosmont Mosque, because it's part of the feature we've done. We still will get to the Soweto Mosque. We'll get to the Awal Masjid in Cape Town as well. Some people suggested the Polokwane Mosque. We'll talk to all of them, right? But the story is like, which are the mosques of huge significance in our country? And the Bosmont Mosque, west of Johannesburg, one of them, right after this.